Malcolm McDowell currently stars as Richard in the new Amazon horror comedy series Truth Seekers. I'm Riley Chow, contributing editor at Gold Derby. And I think the funniest part of the 8 episode first season for me was the old man rabbit filter fail. So I'm wondering what kind of inside information you have about making that scene and that storyline.
I didn't, I kept saying, well, what exactly is it? Because, they didn't, it was done in post, the tail and the ears and all that. So I wasn't quite sure, but I kind of figured because, of course, my kids have this app that, when you're talking, it gives them a pig's face or something. So I figured that was it, but it's quite funny because he tries to get it off and he can't get it off. He doesn't really understand the electronics, the new way of doing things. He's this old codger who, but he's trying. He's trying, and he fiddles around, and he becomes a bit of an internet star himself, which is hilarious, of course.
Yeah, I felt like it just kind of came out of nowhere, which is so great for comedy. I also wanted to ask you about just another stray joke before we get into deeper questions. There's a gag where I think your character, he says like, "Oh, I love the sweet and sour prawn ball pizza."
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, she says,
She
said, I don't know, we could go Italian or Chinese, and he goes, "Hey, we can have both. I'll order something," and that's what he comes up with.
All right. So going back, why work on this project? I'm wondering what the pitch was for you and how you got attached.
Well, they asked me to do it. I was over in England doing, they were giving me a retrospective at the British Film Institute. And one of the audience members was one of our producers of Truth Seekers, who I didn't know at the time. And he said, would I be interested in coming to London? And I said, maybe. And then, but he didn't tell me it was Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Now, I'm fans of those guys. I love their movies. And I think they have a kind of very cool take on things. And so, we just made it work. I wanted to do it because I wanted to go back to England and do something. I hadn't done something in a while. And, it's always nice to go back home as it was. And I really enjoyed doing it with them. Nick is such a cool guy. He's a cool character. He is what he is. What you see is what you get. And I enjoyed doing it with him. It was a lot of fun.
And you find that's pretty standard for you, where people want you in their project, since you do have this, career spanning 5 decades and hundreds of credits, or are you ever kind of more actively going after roles, being the first one to make a move?
I have never gone after roles. I probably should have done. I'm too English in that way, in that if they want me, they'll call. Of course, it's bullshit. There's a whole list of 20 people that could do it. That is given. But, I think every actor thinks that, well, for what I do, I'm sort of unique. And if they want that, then fine. If they don't, then call somebody else. So that's the way I've always done things. I've never really sought jobs at all, ever, really. But I've been very lucky, when you start your career with such a great movie that's makes such an impact with such a great director, then you're bound to be offered work. Now, whether you're offered work 50 years later, that's debatable. But, I've done a lot of stuff in the meantime. I've done a lot of television in the last 10 years. Mozart in the Jungle, Franklin and Bash, The Mentalist, Entourage. Heroes, exactly. And that they're really good. They're really good stuff to have, very good credits, because they were very good shows. And Heroes kind of got a little bit lost. They shot themselves in the foot a bit there, but they got lost in the medieval Japanese jungle somewhere. But having said that, there were some wonderful things in it, you know, and I enjoyed Franklin and Bash too. You probably don't know that one, but that was a lawyer thing, and two great young guys that were off the wall kind of lawyers, and I was there sort of the head of the law firm, and I really enjoyed that, and it was very well done, very well written. And then, of course, Mozart in the Jungle, which I really had so much fun working with Gael Garcia Bernal, and the producer was a dear friend of mine, Paul Weiss. Great guy. All that production team and writers were very good. So, and the cast, I like the cast too. And Bernadette Peters is a lot of fun to work with. So, you know, I've had a lot of fun on television. And you know, it is where the best writing lies, because I've never really been a mainstream sort of actor, really. I've always been outside the mainstream. I'm not really a studio guy, you know. Oh, that's my bulldog letting her presence be known. Mabel, what are you doing? Sit down. George? I've got two of them. Anyway, what was I talking about? I was prattling on.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask. You've got, you know, all these other projects in the pipeline. Are you considering it all slowing down, or do you think that you'll just keep doing this until you can?
Well, I haven't considered slowing down, but I have slowed down like everybody else in the entertainment business, because we're not working. We can't work until you know, this pandemic is over, and it's not over, and it's not going to be over for a while. Now I've got a couple of movies to do, and maybe a second season of Truth Seekers, and I hope, because I think they're working on the scripts, but when it'll be, I don't honestly know. I think that the movies will go probably late spring, and then hopefully Truth Seekers will shoot in the summer. But nothing, you know, nothing is written in stone here. We don't know. Sure. It all depends whether the vaccine works.
How is it working with Simon Pegg? Because, I mean, he wrote these scripts, he's producer, he's acting in it, but he doesn't really have any interaction with your character, Richard.
No. Well, you know, as I said, I'm a bit of a fan of Simon's, and he's very industrious, and, you know, he doesn't just sit back, and he's out there using his clout, you know, as an actor to produce, write. He does everything. And, you know, his collaboration with Nick Frost is fantastic. And between them, I don't know who did what. And they've also got great writers. You know, there's a few others that, so they share it about a bit. But sadly, didn't have anything with Simon, and I don't see how I possibly could, but you never know. They'll figure something. It's a shame. I'd love to have a scene with him.
And when you came onto the project, did they tell you, I guess, how much of did they tell you a lot about your arc, like what your relationship was with Nick Frost's character, or that you'd be working so much with Susan Wakama?
I mean, it's self-explanatory if you read the scripts. You don't, I mean, there it is in black and white on the page. I just wanted to look, it is a comedy. And he is such a great character to have a bit of fun with. But it's not comedy, ha-ha. It's a smile, a rueful smile. And, you know, Richard is such a sort of geeky character in many ways. And I rather liked him. You know, he's strong. He's a strong character and fun. And I love some of the stuff, you know, when Gus says, look, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't come into my office. He goes, your office is the dining room. And, you know, stuff like that. And then it turns out that he's not his dad, but he's the dad of, he's actually the father-in-law. So it was really sweet, actually. And we had a lot of fun working together, and the truth is, by the time I came in, everyone was a bit tired, it's quite a hectic shooting schedule and all. But I really enjoyed Susan too. She's a wonderful actress, as is everybody. All the cast were really, first rate, really. And I didn't work with her, but Kelly McDonald's there, and I've worked with her years ago. So I was really thrilled to see her. But sadly, I didn't get to work with her, but she was so good in it. Yeah, they're all really terrific,
Yeah, I imagine that since it just has the one director, that the whole thing was kind of block shot. But you're saying that you came in like quite late in the shoot?
I was doing a movie in Malta, so I had to finish that and then fly to London. And then that's why I'm a bit light in the first 2 episodes, I think, because I was going to be late for those. So I just quickly, we just did those. I mean, they were in the house, I think. I can't remember what the second series was, in the second episode. But it didn't really matter. So it doesn't really matter where they put him in the episodes, which episode it is, but we have the whole sequence of, going to Toynbee, Dr. Toynbee's, all that. So I think that was started off in the second episode, I think. Not sure, but whatever it was. Yes, so I arrived late, caught up fairly fast, and then we were off to the races, as they say.
This is a kind of a broad question, but I always wonder about people like you and Stephen Root and James Franco and other people who are so prolific about how you film something for a short period of time, and then you have to recall it months later, maybe talk about it for years to come. Can you tell me about how you manage that experience?
Well, not very well. I'm so used to working out of sequence. If I was to do a movie in sequence, I wouldn't even know what to do. Luckily, I've done quite a bit of theater, so that, of course, has to be in sequence. But sometimes I really don't remember a lot about, the work. If it's a year later and I've only done a week on it or something, then it is a little difficult to recall what you did. But something like this was over 2.5 months. And I was in London, great city, that I really love. So, and with people that I like. So it was a real pleasure to do this. And I hope they get a second season out of it, because I really think now we know that people like it, we can move on from there. And I'm sure there's lots of lovely tales to tell. And they're wonderful characters, really, all of them. They're likable. You don't often get that on a television show. There's always some creep, I suppose I'm the nearest to it in this, but he's a sort of lovable guy. He's a bit of a curmudgeon, but you can't help but really like him, because he does have a point of view on the world, and that is compelling.
Yeah, I don't think he's that bad a guy. There's that scene where they talk about all the lies that have been told to Nick Frost's character, and then the lie about your character is that he wishes that his daughter were alive instead of his son-in-law. I was like, that's not that bad.
No, that's right.
Yeah. And I guess finally, since we're an awards website, I want to ask about your Screen Actors Guild Award nomination last year as part of the cast of Bombshell. Because you've been, part of Best Picture winners, part of Golden Globe winners like Mozart and the Jungle. Finally, you got, some recognition for yourself from that group. Can you tell me about what that meant to you?
What do I think about awards? Well, really, I know it's a fun game for the producers to play. But really, to be honest, the real work is doing the work. It's not all the sort of political bullshit that comes later. And in fact, to sit through these awards is excruciatingly boring. A lot of small talk. At least I've been around so long, I pretty much know a lot of the people at all the other tables, so I can go say hi, which I like very much, by the way. But what do I think of awards? I really don't. I'm not disappointed if I'm not nominated, if I don't win. I'm neither, you can't be. It's a game that is played, and that's fine. And we all play the game, and I'll put a, dinner jacket on and smile and be photographed and all the rest of it. But it's all bullshit, really. Let's be honest.
All right, that's what we like to hear. Okay, Malcolm. Well, thanks very much for taking the time to chat. We have other interviews with people from Truth Seekers on our YouTube channel, and you can go to goldderby.com to make your Golden Globe predictions.
Well, listen, I don't know how old you are. You look 12 on my screen, and I just have to compliment you on such a professional and terrific job. Well done.
Great. Thanks very much.